12 years ago, the most dangerous downhill event in the world was born. After way too many crashes and unexpected rises, this single race changed mountain biking forever. Today, we'll break down exactly how. Downhill racing has always been about speed, precision, and control. For decades, the World Cup defined what was possible on a mountain bike. But then something switched. Freeriders wanted more than taped courses without pushing competition into full rampage territory. And two brothers saw exactly what the sport was missing. It all started in 2014, not with architects in an office at Red Bull's headquarters, but with a hike in the Welsh backcountry. Dan and G. Atherton, already two established downhill riders, were scouting the hillside above their home trails. They weren't thinking about lap times or UCI regulations when they noticed a massive cliff, and they immediately decided to build a ginormous drop there.
We looked at it and we were like, we want to jump from there to there.
That would soon become one of the most iconic MTB features in the world. They were imagining jumps that no race organizer would ever approve, so they did the most obvious thing. They asked Red Bull.
What did Red Bull say when you said, I want to find the hardest, most difficult thing, and then we're going to hold a race down it?
They loved it.
After some back and forth, the energy drink company was in, and Hardline was born.
They'd been on the fence about it, and then they turned up to see what we'd built, and they were thinking, well, we've probably made the wrong decision here. So
the first edition of Red Bull Hardline was an experiment conducted away from the public eye to determine if a course with so many technical obstacles was actually rideable in a race setting. 9 of the best riders in the world were selected, including Loic Bruni, Brendan Fairclough, and G. Atherton.
Dropping in, it's Danny Hart.
Danny Hart, already a world champion, won in a final that saw only 6 athletes finish. Even from those early days, it was clear that the event wasn't about winning, but surviving. In 2015, Hardline officially opened to spectators, solidifying its reputation as the toughest race in the world. Dan Atherton suffered a severe scapula fracture during practice, highlighting how even an intimate knowledge of the track offered no guarantees against its brutality. That year, the iconic Renegade jump and the jump section named Dirty Ferns were introduced. The Scottish Ruaridh Cunningham claimed victory. 1 year later, metal ramps were introduced, and British rider Bernard Kerr won. Beginning what would soon become a legacy. The 2017 edition is remembered for torrential rains that transformed exposed rock into pure ice. Race direction had to shorten the track, eliminating the upper part to ensure minimum safety for athletes. Craig Evans won with a flawless run, and to this day is still the humblest Hardline winner.
No, I didn't think I was going to win at all. I just came to have a fun week, jumping big jumps. I'd just been happy if I'd have qualified.
Adam Brayton hit a tree hard.
Poor tree. Adam looks okay.
The crash was a perfect image of the danger of the Dubby Valley, but still nothing compared to what would happen a few years later. In 2018, after 4 years of mechanical mishaps and bad injuries, G. Atherton finally managed to take the long-awaited win by 5 whole seconds. The race kept growing in popularity and slowly became the benchmark for what extreme downhill racing could be. Hardline wasn't just pushing riders to go faster, it was pushing the entire sport to evolve. Bigger bikes, stronger components, new riding techniques. What started as a one-off experiment in the Welsh hills was now completely reshaping downhill. 2019 was the year Hardline fully crossed into freeride territory, but not thanks to the winning run, because despite Bernard Kerr became the first rider to win the event twice, the race itself was defined by tricks thrown by other riders. Athletes like Gaetan Viget and Chaos Seagrave attempted backflips during their race runs. At that point, the line was clear. This wasn't just downhill racing pushed to the extreme anymore. Hardline had become something else entirely, operating on a level the World Cup simply wasn't built to reach. But all the hype was put on hold because in 2020, Hardline was canceled due to COVID-19. The builders used that time to make the track even crazier. In fact, Hardline returned gnarlier than ever. The cliff edge step down was introduced, a 14-meter vertical drop positioned immediately after the Renegade jump, pushing riders and bikes to their breaking point. Bernard Kerr, with another crazy run, obtained his 3rd crown, consolidating his technical supremacy and becoming the most successful rider in Hardline history. At this point, Hardline had achieved something rare. It wasn't just influencing riders, it was leading the entire direction of downhill progression. In 2022, that shift became impossible to ignore. The Dirty Ferns section was completely rebuilt, adding an on-off box and 2 massive 90-foot doubles. The Welsh race was about to go down. And speaking of Wales, the country isn't only only the birthplace of Red Bull Hardline, it's also home to Winch and Plummet, an award-winning mountain bike apparel brand.
Lately, I've been testing this kit from Winch and Plummet, and it's proof of the care that goes into their products, from quality to performance on the trails. These pants are splash resistant, so puddles and wet conditions aren't a problem, and the zipped pockets are actually usable. You can fit everything you need without worrying about losing it on the trail. The jersey is lightweight and breathable, designed to keep you cool on hard runs while still feeling durable for aggressive riding. And the gloves offer a secure grip and great bar feel, giving you control without sacrificing comfort. Whether you need pants, gloves, jerseys or any other MTB gear, winchandplummet.co.uk is the place to go. Let's get back to Hardline.
In 2022, an 18-year-old Canadian showed up with a fresh Red Bull helmet and no expectations.
No way!
That kid was Jackson Goldstone.
Just seeing him on his bike, you can tell how comfortable he is.
The first time here at Red Bull Hardline, the first man up by nearly a second. 3 seconds into the green now then. It's massive run from Jackson Goldstone.
He absolutely flew down the mountain, clearing the new 90-foot doubles like they were nothing.
Leading off that first big double, coming up towards the last split now. And look at the pace. I haven't seen anyone going near that hot. These sublime skills, Goldstone is going to go fastest by a massive margin. Goldstone across the line. Look at the time.
Goldstone won by 6 full seconds, the fastest hardline run ever recorded. Simultaneously, the invitation to Jess Blewett marked the fall of the last gender barrier. Although an injury in practice prevented her from racing the final, her ability to clear the road gap in the hardest technical sections demonstrated that hardline was ready for a structural expansion into the women's field. In 2023, the event was canceled at the last minute due to high winds, and Jackson never got to defend his title. The 10th anniversary saw Red Bull Hardline exporting the Atherton model to Australia. 2024 marked the inauguration of Hardline Tasmania at Medina Bike Park. Although that course had a different geology, dusty dirt and ancient rainforests compared to the slate rock of Wales, it maintained the extreme spirit with a final 75-foot gap. The course was brutal, filled with blind jumps and huge drops. Goldstone crashed during his race run and broke his knee, an injury that cost him the entire 2024 season. Irish rider Ronan Dunn stepped up and laid down a flawless run, becoming the first ever winner of Hardline Tasmania. But Ronan's story doesn't end there, because later that year, Dunn returned to Wales and made history again. In Wales, the track was partially redesigned to eliminate the slipperiest wooded sections in favor of a more exposed and faster ridgeline. A massive 70-foot canyon gap over a creek was also built. The top comment under Matt Jones's video about the feature was, "That jump is gonna kill someone." In fact, the organizers soon removed it from the track. The reigning champion Ronan Dunn, with a flawless run, won back-to-back hardlines and became the youngest ever to do it twice. But 2025 was by far the most spectacular year for hardline. Everything started in Tasmania, where Red Bull decided to make the course even gnarlier, lengthening the track by 300 meters and filling it with massive doubles. The race marked Jackson Goldstone's return to racing after his injury, but in qualifying, an 18-year-old kid stole the spotlight. Asa Vermette qualified fastest. Jackson, right before him, dropped in and sent one of the smoothest runs of his career. It looked like he hadn't lost a step. But Vermette still had to drop. The 18-year-old from the States made a few mistakes early on, but refused to give up.
Is he gonna do it?
No.
Goes outside!
Towards the end, Asa missed a secret line that cost him a lot of time compared to Goldstone. The Canadian took his second hardline title, completing his redemption arc. Just 5 months later, it was time for Hardline Wales. Goldstone decided to sit this one out to focus on the World Cup season, and Vermette had one last chance to break Goldstone's record as Hardline's youngest winner, so he dropped. First split, not fast enough. But then, something clicks. He goes full throttle. Every jump, every turn, every drop, perfect.
it.
At just 18 years and 184 days old, Asa Vermette crosses the line and officially becomes the youngest Red Bull Hardline winner in history. The hype for Tasmania 2026 was really high, but unfortunately, due to bad weather, the finals were cancelled, and Asa Vermette, the fastest in qualifying, was crowned winner. Ultimately, Hardline did more than just build bigger jumps. It forced the entire sport to evolve, bridging the gap between the precision of the World Cup and the raw guts of freeride. From pushing bike technology to its breaking point to producing a new breed of fearless young riders, the Atherton's Welsh experiment didn't just change the rules of downhill, it redefined the very limit of what we thought was possible on two wheels.